They really tried to convince everyone it was over before it even started. That Shedeur Sanders wasn't ready. That he needed years. That maybe he wasn't even built to lead a franchise. But now, just weeks later, the same voices that were doubting him are starting to sound real different. And it's not subtle either. It's happening right in front of everyone. Because something is shifting inside the Cleveland Browns building. And if you're paying attention, this isn't just development anymore. This looks like the early stages of a takeover. But that shift didn't just happen overnight. It started with disrespect. From the moment he entered the league, Shedeur Sanders was treated like an afterthought. The draft position didn't match the hype he had coming in. And suddenly, the narrative flipped. The same player who was once projected, at the very top, was now being talked about like a long-term project, like someone who might not even see the field anytime soon. Fans bought into it. Media pushed it even harder. The storyline became simple. He wasn't the guy. But what made that narrative dangerous was that it didn't match what was actually happening behind the scenes. Because while everyone was debating whether he belonged, he was quietly doing something most quarterbacks struggle to do. He was winning, not putting up flashy numbers, not chasing headlines, just stepping in and finding ways to win football games. Limited opportunities, inconsistent reps, and still, results. And that's where things started to get uncomfortable, because it forced a real question. Would you rather have a quarterback who looks good on paper, or one who actually closes games? Shedeur wasn't checking every flashy box, but he was doing the one thing that matters most. And that alone started separating him from the noise. But even that wasn't the most important part. The real difference was how he was doing it. While everyone else focused on what he didn't have, elite speed, explosive scrambling like Lamar Jackson, or raw power like Josh Allen, they completely overlooked what he did have. Control, decision-making, precision. Shedeur plays the game differently. He doesn't rely on chaos. He manages it. He reads defenses, finds matchups, and delivers the ball where it needs to be. It's not flashy, but it's effective. And more importantly, it's sustainable. That's the kind of skill set that doesn't always show up in highlights. But it's exactly what coaches pay attention to. And that's where everything changed. The moment Todd Monken stepped into the picture, the entire situation shifted. Because Monken doesn't care about draft narratives. He doesn't care about media opinions. He cares about one thing: who gives him the best chance to win. And once that lens got applied, Shedeur's value inside that building started rising fast. Every rep, every throw, every decision. He wasn't being evaluated as a project anymore. He was being evaluated as a salute. At first, it was quiet, just small reports. Then insiders started saying things like he's getting a real shot. Then the percentages started showing up. Talk of an 80% chance at a legitimate opportunity. That's not hype. That's information slipping out from inside the building. And once that kind of talk starts, it's hard to stop. Because now the media doesn't control the narrative anymore. The performance does. Even respected voices around the league started stepping in. Guys like Emmitt Smith began pointing out what people missed. That not every great quarterback has to look the same. That winning, decision-making, and consistency matter more than raw athletic traits. And suddenly, the conversation flipped. But what makes this situation even more dangerous is the timing. Because when you look at that Browns quarterback room, there's no locked-in answer. No untouchable name shutting the door. That means opportunity is wide open. And Shedeur isn't just waiting. He's positioning himself. Every practice, he's stacking results. Every opportunity, he's building trust. And the biggest difference now? People aren't looking at him as a long shot anymore. They're looking at him as a real option. And once that shift happens, everything changes. More reps, more trust, more responsibility. And that creates momentum, the kind that builds quietly, until it's impossible to ignore. You can feel it inside the locker room too. Because this isn't just about coaches, it's about players. And players notice who's consistent, who's calm under pressure, who shows up the same way every single day. Shedeur isn't moving like someone hoping for a chance. He's moving like someone who expects it. And that mindset spreads fast. Because once teammates start believing in you, that's when real change happens. Not in headlines, but in trust. And now, the pressure isn't on him anymore. It's on the Browns. Because the question isn't, can he do it? Anymore. It's, what are you waiting for? When a quarterback keeps stacking good days, keeps building confidence, keeps proving he can handle the moment, eventually, the decision gets forced. That's how this league works. You can delay it. You can manage it. But you can't ignore it forever. And right now, it's getting harder and harder to justify keeping him off the field. Because this isn't just about potential anymore. This is about momentum. And momentum like this doesn't slow down. It takes over. So now everything comes down to one moment. When he finally gets that full opportunity. When the offense is his. When the spotlight is real. What happens next? Because that's where everything gets decided. That's where doubts disappear. Or get louder. But based on everything we're seeing right now, Shedeur Sanders isn't fading into the background. He's rising. And fast. So now the real question is, are we watching a competition? Or the early stages of a takeover?